Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. I want to thank everyone who made it down to Mountain View. It looks like we got a pretty packed house tonight. That's pretty good. Hopefully it wasn't just for the beer. And of course, we have an audience on a video conference from Asia. I'm assuming they can see us since I can't see them. But anyway, thank you for coming. Hopefully you'll have a fun and interesting evening about native client. So to rewind just a little bit, I think Google's fairly well known for being a little bit obsessed about performance. And so 2-3 years ago, someone posed the question of, like, what would it be like if we could run native code inside the browser? And that seemed like a really interesting question. And it sort of broke down into two main goals for that we started really investing in. The first, of course, was how to bring native applications to the web in terms of performance and the power, but also maintaining what's good about the web in terms of security and portability. So that was goal number one. Goal number two was really about enriching the web ecosystem by bringing a lot of other programming languages to the web, particularly programming languages that had been around and were in popular use and had been in popular use for a long time. So that started a long road that I think was pretty entertaining, and we've come a long way, I think, in those 3 years. So to talk a little bit more about the technology and the goals, I'm going to start with the technical lead for Native Client, Brad Chen. Come on up. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you, Ian. And thanks to all of you for coming to Mountain View this evening. On the engineering side of this project, we had two main problems we needed to solve. Of course, we had to make native clients safe to protect users from the kinds of problems that have historically been common with native applications and native plugins. We were painfully aware of the history of security issues that have arisen with technologies such as NP-API and ActiveX, and we were determined to learn the right lessons from those systems. But security alone is not enough, obviously. We need to make a system that was powerful. We needed to make a system that would enable developers to deliver applications that were new and exciting, but that weren't already happening on the web. Now, in the 3 or so years that have transpired since we first started the research project, we've made significant progress towards solving these problems. With our Chrome 14 release, we've shipped a browser that allows application developers to ship real applications using the native client sandbox together with a core set of Pepper interfaces that support facilities such as 2D graphics, real-time audio playback, URL loading, and asynchronous messaging with JavaScript. And we've really enjoyed seeing our early adopter developers deliver vintage arcade games to native client on the web by porting emulators like MAME and DOSBox. In our more recent release, we've actually added some more ambitious and yet very important features. One really key feature is hardware-accelerated 3D graphics. This enables developers to do real-time rendering of detailed scenes, providing the kinds of rich interactive experience that we're all trying to deliver these days. We also provide sandbox local file storage. This is a critical feature for developers who want to provide a really great user experience both online and offline. It enables application developers to provide applications that start quickly because graphics, audio, and other kinds of application data are stored once on a local disk, and so they're already available the next time the application starts. We also provide, in our most recent releases, dynamic loading and the popular GNU libc implementation, making it that much easier to port complex applications to native client. I'd also like to mention full screen mode and mouse capture. These are critical features for application developers that are trying to provide a truly immersive experience. The result of all of this is that today, through native client, application developers can use native code safely in Chrome across all popular desktop operating systems, and they have access to a rich and growing set of resources from the browser. So, with that, I'd like to introduce Eric Kai. Eric is Engineering Manager for Native Client, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about what this means for developers and for the web. Eric.
Thanks, Brad. Hi, everyone. So you've heard that developers are now going to be able to bring their native code to the web, but what does that really mean for the web at large? Well, the first thing is that it means that decades of native code that's been built and the expertise that comes with it and those millions of developers who are experienced in developing native code can now bring that to the web. It'll now be an easy decision for them to decide to port their applications to the web because they no longer have to rewrite them from scratch in HTML and JavaScript. There's now no reason why many desktop and mobile applications can't also run in your browser. We're also going to enable higher performance computing on the web. Now, native code running in NACL will run, often run multiple times faster than JavaScript today. And that's in single-threaded mode, but Native Client also has access to efficient multi-threading, which means it can take full advantage of your multi-core CPUs. This is going to enable a wide variety of applications that weren't possible on the web before. Now, it's going to do this while maintaining the security model of the web today. Now, the main reason for this is the sandbox that Brad mentioned earlier. But it's also because of our philosophy and what kind of APIs that we brought to Native Client. Unlike previous technologies like NPAPI and ActiveX, we're not bringing new capabilities to the web. Instead, what we're bringing is the web capabilities to native code. Now, this means that native code will run with the same security level as JavaScript. Now, we believe the applications you're going to see tonight are going to demonstrate the real need for this technology. It's bringing applications that were never before possible on the web. And as such, we think it's important for this technology to not be limited to a single browser. We've developed Native Client from the beginning in the public as an open source project and are committed to working with other browser vendors to bring it to all users. We work closely with the open source community with accepting external contributions, and we're looking forward to continuing that close relationship. Now, that's what it means for the web, but what about for developers? Well, one of the big problems developers have today is that there are so many platforms out there. You're having to develop for Windows, for Mac, maybe iOS and Android, maybe a game console, then there's the web. This often involves you having to maintain multiple development teams, multiple code bases. Trying to keep them all in sync is a very expensive proposition. With Native Client, you're now going to be able to leverage your existing code base and quickly and easily bring it to the web. We've seen already developers bring million-line code bases to Native Client in just a couple of weeks and a handful of developers. And that's including the time necessary to just learn the technology to begin with. Now, for many developers, the best part is going to be the fact that now in the web, you're going to be able to use your favorite programming language. You don't need to learn new stuff. You can leverage your existing knowledge, your existing tools, your existing technology that you've spent so much time and effort investing in. And further, it's important to remember that development is not just about writing code. It's also about the tools behind it. You have build systems, testing, revision control. All of these systems will work seamlessly with your existing code base and Native Client. So once you've built your application, you need to distribute it. We're here to help with that too. Today, you can build your app, publish it in the Chrome Web Store, and have direct access to the rapidly growing Chrome user base, now well over 200 million users. This is a pretty exciting group, pretty large user base already, but pretty soon you'll be able to grow to an even larger audience and deliver them directly via the web. Now, obviously, all these new apps that you're going to see today are going to have huge impact on users. To talk about that in more detail is Christian, our product manager.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric, and hi, everybody. So, as Eric mentioned, native client really enables applications that just wouldn't be possible before, either because they were too performance demanding or simply because of the time it would require to rewrite these apps. And so there's several categories of applications that we feel are really a natural fit for native client. The first category is games, in particular 3D accelerated games, computationally intensive games, and in fact, many of the early adopters that you're going to see here today at the demo stations in the back are games, and there's a good reason for that. Games are a category that traditionally push the boundaries of what's possible on a platform, in this case, the web platform. Other categories are photo editing, video editing, image editing. Imagine anything that involves image transformations, computationally intensive filters, anything along those lines. Another category is 3D modeling, interactive training software, and in fact, we have a company that does exactly that here today. Another category would be computer-aided design. Again, you have this conjunction really of 3D modeling and heavy computation. The same applies for another category, namely scientific computing. So math, statistics, protein folding, signal processing, anything along that line, anything that you would classify as heavy number crunching would be a great fit for native client. So of course, most of the users are not going to care about using native client or even know that they're using native client. What they're going to care about is the fact that they get applications that are as feature-rich and as responsive as desktop applications. Yet they're synchronized across all their machines seamlessly, so they don't have to install them several times. They're also going to care about the security, because native client is as safe as other web applications. You can run them, install them, knowing that your system is going to be safe. And incidentally, the install is a frictionless process, and you are not going to need admin privileges on your machine. So we've been working closely with several early adopters of native client, and next I'd like to invite a couple of them up here on stage and talk about their experience using native client. First, I am honored and privileged to introduce Yoichi Wada. He is the CEO and president of Square Enix, one of the largest global game companies. So please help me welcome Yoichi Wada.
Thank you very much for inviting me to an occasion as momentous as today's announcement. I consider it a great honor to be here with all of you. I'm convinced that Google's native client will be welcomed worldwide as a truly innovative technology, not only for the IT industry, but for the games industry as well. Video games are capable of expressing rich experiences and are deeply loved by players around the globe. However, they are also incredibly complex applications. And until recently, playing games required specialized consoles intended for that purpose. We in the game industry have strived to present games upon general-purpose devices to bring joy to greater numbers of customers. Through the casual games and social games played in the browser, many people who had previously not played games have entered the gaming world. But browser technology limited us to offering very simple products. Google's native client solves this problem. We are releasing a port of Mini Ninjas as our first step with native client. We have prepared a demo of the game today. Please give it a try and ask our developers about their experience porting the game. The feeling is something that is difficult to put into words. You can tell the difference between playing on native client and playing on a game console. Through this porting work, we became convinced that native client is an excellent solution for browser gaming. I should point out that I don't believe that games with console-level quality are superior, or that such games should be played by all consumers. My point is that, given that consumers have varied tastes, we should present a wide variety of games. All first-in-class businesses offer a wide selection of choices to consumers. With native clients, the games industry has been able to realize this for the first time. Furthermore, what is important about native client to gaming? It's not just that you can present a game to the same level of quality as a game console. What is critical is the fact that Chrome is, above all, a browser. The combination of browser and console quality gaming will be the impetus for social features within these games to evolve far more rapidly than had ever been possible before. It is incredibly exciting to be able to work with Google in expanding rich game experiences around the world. Let us begin this new era together. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm just going to repeat one thing, which is go have a look at the game. It's on the demo stations after this, and it's a gorgeous game. So really, check it out. Our next presenter is Amir Rao. He's the studio director of Supergiant Games, and he's going to talk a little bit about their experiences porting their award-winning game Bastion over to native client. Everybody, Amir Rao. Welcome, Amir.
Yeah. I'm Amir. This is Greg. We're from Supergiant Games. Supergiant Games is a small independent developer with 7 people. It's located in San Francisco, California. We actually started in the living room of a house in 2009, and over the course of 20 months, we built Bastion, which we released on Xbox Live Arcade and PC this summer in conjunction with Warner Brothers. And since then, people have been asking us what we're up to, and actually one of the things we've been up to is Bastion for Chrome. So we're just going to show the game running in a browser so you can see it for yourself.
Proper story is supposed to start at the beginning. Ain't so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world got all twisted, leaving him stranded on a rock in the sky. He gets up, sets off for the Bastion, where everyone agreed to go in case of trouble. Ground forms up under his feet as it pointing the way. He don't stop to wonder why. Finds his lifelong friend just lying in the road. Well, it's a touching reunion. He sees what's left of the rippling walls, years of work undone in an instant, in the calamity. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a gas fella, forced out from underground. Kid pops him good. Fella got a piece of him, though. And then he falls to his death. I'm just fooling.
So yeah. So for those of you who have played Bastion on other platforms, that may look familiar, and that's kind of what's so exciting to us about it, is it's the same sort of rich narrative experience that you get on your console or on the PC version of the game right inside your browser. The other exciting thing for us was bringing the game to a whole new audience. And to welcome that audience, we added a new mode to Bastion, which we call No Sweat mode. It basically allows you to experience the audio and art and story of Bastion with reduced combat difficulty. And also, we kind of were relishing the technical challenge of putting the game on a new platform. And with Google support, we got into a browser in about 2 months. So yeah, it's a really exciting time for us. Today, right after I sit down, we're going to put our version of Bastion right on the Chrome Web Store, so you'll be able to play it. And then tomorrow, we're headed off to LA for the Machinima Inside Gaming Awards and the Spike VGAs. We're nominated for 10 categories across both shows. And then tomorrow, we're announcing our new DLC for Bastion, which actually will appear on Native Client and all other platforms. So it's a big week for us. Thanks a lot to Google for having us here. And yeah, you can come play the game and talk to our engineers. 5 of our team members are here, so yeah.
Thanks, Amir. And yeah, I've already spent quite a lot of time playing Bastion for testing purposes, obviously. And so can you, apparently, starting now. So our next presenter is something quite different. I alluded to this before when I said that you can do 3D training in Native Client. Our next presenter is Neil Wadawan. He is the VP of Sales and Marketing from Heartwood Studios. Welcome, Neil.
Thank you. This is my colleague, Ryan Musta. He's going to be helping me with the demo today. Hartwood is honored to be here. What we do is we support and help our customers, enable them to build, operate, repair, and do maintenance all in a 3D interactive setting. And we're using the Unity game engine to develop our applications. We recently ported the application to Native Client, which was a seamless, the developers felt that it was somewhat seamless. It's still in its early stage, but it definitely went well. And we're going to demo an application to you today. Our customer, Supergiant, who is a leading provider of solar panels to the world, approached us with a problem. And their problem was, Neil, how do we train and market our product anywhere in the world without having to send a field service rep out every time and spend that money? So what we did at Hartwood is we developed a 3D interactive learning application that helped solve that problem for Supergiant. Ryan, let's demo that. So Ryan's going to load up a lesson for you, and we're all going to be able to assemble this product after we're done. That's the goal, right? And this is all obviously running in the Chrome browser. The rich fidelity is there. We have parts here. Ryan's going to start with the anchor bolts and move to the stands and so forth. It's quite an in-depth lesson, so we're not going to go through the entire procedure today. But if you guys are really curious and would like to learn, please meet us at our booth, and we'll teach you how to put together the solar panel in a 3D interactive application. One of the things we love about Native Client and being able to port to it is our customers don't need to download the Unity plugin. It's all native in the browser, works seamlessly. We're not going to get those calls saying, hey, this didn't work or that didn't work. It's really nice and seamless. It's secure. And Ryan's going to preview the product a little bit, show you what it looks like after it's been built. That's the goal, what it looks like. So imagine a world where we could all train in a 3D interactive learning application that's in the browser for defense, military, heavy machinery, medical. There's countless industries that we can serve. So we're really excited here at Hartwood. We're honored to be at Google and working with you in this port. We thank you for your time and appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Neil. Yeah, we are very excited about seeing something like Hartwood Studios come on Native Client because it shows the breadth of Native Client. As I alluded to earlier, games are interesting because they really push the performance, and then a whole lot of other categories will come afterwards, and this is a great example of that happening. So our last presenter is Oren Tversky. He is the VP of Business Development at Unity Technologies. And Unity, as you probably know, is one of the biggest game engines and editors and they have hundreds of thousands of developers. Please help me welcome Oren Tresky.
So thank you very much. We're really happy to be here. And thanks to Neil for the plug. But Unity is not just used to make solar panels, and I apologize, I can't teach anybody how to put together any kind of panel. As Christian mentioned, Unity makes a tool chain and engine that's used by 190,000 developers on a monthly basis. We estimate that about 2,000 mobile games have been made using Unity. Lots of games also on console, on PC. And we also have our own web plugin. And this web plugin has an installed base of about 90 million. And this is pretty good. And those of you who follow gaming trends certainly know that kind of in-browser gaming is an up-and-coming trend. We've all seen the social games and all that, but that's extending now far and wide. So this is really where kind of a partnership with Google around native client made a lot of sense. And we actually think this is going to benefit developers and consumers alike. If we can roll the first video, that would be great. So this is actually the Unity toolchain. So this is what it actually looks like when you're making a game. And as you can see, there's a little checkbox that says Enable Native Client. And then you push Go. So our goal in working with Google, and our goal is to make our lives easier for developers, is really kind of that simple. Let's make it that easy. The other way we think it'll benefit developers is through distribution and monetization. And we're always looking for ways to help our developers reach new audiences and monetize their games better, because after all, everybody's got to make a living, right? So our web plugin has an installed base of about 90 million, but we're really happy to be able to add the 200 million and growing Chrome users worldwide to that distribution channel. And we also think having a monetization channel through the Chrome Web Store will help our developers earn a nice living. But we think the benefits will also extend to consumers. We think that having that frictionless gaming experience, and if you can roll video number 2, please. So this is a game by a company called Silver Tree Media based in Palo Alto, and this game is called Cordy. And you can see how easy it is to launch. No plugin, no dialogues, frictionless. We think this will make the consumers much more likely to play games, to spend money in games. The other way we think the consumers will benefit is from the native level performance. And this is where we've done a lot of work with Google to make sure that we hit native quality performance, that you can really have a beautiful kind of gaming experience out of the box. And finally, we think consumers will benefit because there's just going to be a lot of great games out there. So we've got over 2,000 games on mobile. We'd love to see them all come to native client, and we think they will. So why are we can finish the video, but why are we here today? So today we're announcing the deployment of 5 Unity native client games to the Chrome Web Store. And they are 2 by Silver Tree Media, Cordy, which we showed you, and Sleepy Jack. 2 by Exit Strategy, Pirates of New Horizons, and Planet Buster. And finally, 1 by a company called Daedalord. The game is called Running Fred. So my colleague Randy will be over in that pod over there, demoing all the games. Really, our message to developers is you should check that native client box. And to the rest of you, it's enjoy the games. And I just want to really thank Google for the opportunity to be here. So.
Thanks, Oren. Right, so these examples really show how native client can push the boundaries of what's possible on the web. And on that note, we're really excited to see several other middleware being ported to native client. These include Unity, of course, as you've just heard. It includes Bullet, the physics engine, Moai, another game engine, Fmod and Wise audio engines, and Mono, which enables you to run, or rather write your app in the entire .NET family of languages. And this is really exciting because it means the native client platform is much more accessible to the hundreds of thousands of developers who are already using these middleware products. So then the question is, well, what's next for native client? And I got it right here. We are adding features. We'll be adding more APIs for networking, in particular for WebSockets. We're scoping out APIs for gamepads. I'm sure a lot of people in the audience will be interested in that. And we're adding more features like memory mapped files. This means that when you're reading or writing large files, you can get a performance increase of orders of magnitude, really. What's more important is to notice that these interfaces, the pip APIs, are going to continue to evolve in tandem with the web platform. And what that means is whenever a new capability is added to the browser, you would expect to see JavaScript APIs for that capability and Pepper APIs for the same capability being added at roughly the same time. And whenever that does happen, we're going to make sure to have an SDK ready with the header files and all you need in the hands of developers at the time where that version of Chrome is in beta channel. So you'll have time to develop apps that take advantage of these features before it's shipped into stable channel. Another key thing for native client has always been portability. And the portability benefits of the system today are already pretty compelling. But there's more work. In order really to be as portable as JavaScript, we need to eliminate any barriers to the introduction of new instruction sets or new operating systems. And to that end, David Sayre, who's in the audience here today. David, do you want to? David Sayre is leading an effort called Portable Native Client. And Portable Native Client will introduce an instruction set neutral wire format to native client while maintaining the performance and the security benefits that we've already established for the system. And this is really important because this means that native client is going to run not just on today's operating systems and today's instruction set architectures, but on the future operating systems and future instruction set architectures. So with that, I'd like to invite Ian back on stage for a couple of closing remarks. Ian.
Christian. So hopefully, there's obviously a lot we could cover, and in the time available, we could only sort of give you a sort of brief taste of what's possible in native client. But hopefully, we've given you at least a good sense of how we've achieved on some of those original points that I mentioned way back in the beginning. How we can really push the boundary in terms of the kinds of applications that you can run on the web by bringing native-like performance, but also maintaining the portability and the scalability and the reach and the deployment benefits of the web. So taking those things together and these amazing demos and many others that we couldn't show, hopefully that all comes together into a pretty compelling story. So we at Google, of course, very excited about the possibilities and what we've seen so far. More to the point, hopefully you are getting excited about what you could maybe come up with that you haven't seen today. So I very much look forward to seeing what kinds of amazing experiences you come up with in the weeks and months ahead as we continue to drive the platform forward. We're going to do some Q&A at the back in about 10 seconds, and hopefully I think we get to the beer. So do stick around, ask me questions, ask us questions, ask our partners questions. We've obviously got a lot more we could be working on, and your feedback will really help us set the future direction for native client. With that, I'd like to wave at our audience in Asia. I'm waving at the camera. I actually have no idea where the camera is, so I'm just waving vaguely. Hope they had a good video conference. And of course, thank you for coming to Mountain View to share in this launch. Thank you very much.